It's me, Bussy, and welcome back to Hot or Rot. Today we'll be reviewing Dragula Resurrection, a special Dragula Halloween pageant for 7 of our previously exterminated ghouls. They competed for a cash prize of $20,000 and the ability to return to season 4 of Dragula. The 3 look categories for this competition were Witch, Ghost, and Vampire. I'll be going queen by queen, critiquing each of their looks and discussing how Dragula's inclusive casting and narratives are changing the world of drag forever. Before we get started, make sure to spook that like button if you like what you're seeing and scream subscribe if you want more. First up, is it all just an illusion or is it Dahli? They really dug into their roots for this one. Their witch look is like this demented wood nymph that is ready to cast a curse. The most shocking thing about this look is the skin texture of the makeup. When they do that really close zoom in, you can see this headpiece that is super elaborate, created by armature wire, adorned with what looks to be cobwebs, and the whole thing is very tattered and destroyed and torn up. But I love the way they accessorize this look to give some nods to classic witchery. For example, the 2 tusks on the front of the headpiece. Classically, witches are always using pieces and parts of animals to brew potions. And then this black jewel front and center on the forehead. I'm imagining it could be some sort of cursed item, or maybe like the thing giving this creature all of its power out in the woods. The makeup, skin texture, and contacts all bring this creature Dahli has created into this sort of dream world type of thing, or should I say nightmare realm. However, I would say the bottom part of the look is a little bit unfinished looking. I think because the lighting of the scene is just so dark, so I don't really get to see all those finer details. The creativity behind this look really gave me the face crack of the century. And I'd say this look is hot enough to start a forest fire. For their next look, Dahli does talk about how they have a literal ghost haunting them from season 2 when they gave up in their extermination. One of the Boulet Brothers even admits when they saw Dahli come into the competition, they thought they were going to win their original season. There is another elaborate headpiece. This time it looks like it is arteries, blood growths coming out of the scalp and chest of this creature. Butterflies are flocking all around this fresh blood coming out of this body, giving us a little bit of unexpected beauty and a truly terrifying moment. The actual outfit is just kind of like a red lacy sheet draped over the body, and that is reminiscent of Ghost. However, I think something with a little more attention to detail on the bottom part of the look would have hit this home a bit better for me. Trying to figure out exactly what's going on here took my brain through a bit of a labyrinth, a Pan's Labyrinth, if you will. While it didn't necessarily hit that category mark for me, I do think this look is one of the scariest things in the entire episode, which is on brand for Dragula. Overall, I'm going to say this look for me is warming up to a hot. So if that last look was standing at the gates of hell, this one is like running through Satan's sewer pipes. In this final look, they have created this costume with inspiration from Dune. They were talking about how there are pipes going into this equipment that they're wearing that is used to convert sweat into water that becomes drinkable. Dahli has adapted that into saying that essentially they have like a blood pack on their body that it's feeding them. This look also isn't something that immediately screams vampire. However, the crazy makeup and that nose prosthetic that they're wearing really bring it into that gargoyle-y demon type of fantasy world. The white body also does let us know that this is vampire inspired. There's also something about this look that makes me a little bit turned on. It's like kind of a sexy punk vampire. Ghouls really are a girl's best friend. This look is hot. Overall, Dahli's looks are probably the scariest of the entire group of contestants. Horror definitely done. I would say the one thing that Dahli was missing from this presentation of 3 looks was going to be glamour, which is one of the tenets, as the Boulet Brothers would say, of Dragula. And at the end, we do see a very confusing moment where they re-exterminate all of the ghouls, and then Dahli is the last shot and they come back alive. So while they didn't win, we also don't know what is going to happen with them. All we really do know is that the Boulets were clear about wanting to see more of Dahli. Vroom vroom, next up, we enter the realm of Frankie Doom. Frankie's witch look is inspired by the Grand High Witch from the movie Witches. Frankie did try to show us that in their floor show, however, it didn't really make sense. They were holding up this little like V for Vendetta type of mask, and the reveal moment was so fast that it almost didn't even happen. I have to commend and give a hat to the excellent mask and character creation done for this look. The boil-filled scalp, 10-inch witch nose, insane chin, the eyebrows. The mask that they are wearing is sculpted so perfectly. This is truly ugly. It's so gross and disgusting and terrifying, which is what makes it so great. However, the full look and garment pieces didn't really cast a spell on me. There's something about the actual outfit that just kind of looks like a cheap hooker cocktail dress with a cape on it. So overall, this look is going to be a rot for me, but would a witch really be mad about that? For their next look, they said, ooh. Frankie is giving us this ghostly bride type of look inspired by what they are describing as La Llorona. Wikipedia is telling me that La Llorona is this woman who drowned her children, drowned with them, and then was unable to enter the afterlife with them. And so now I guess because of that, she goes around drowning children all the time. I don't know. I love that Frankie was able to bring their culture into this look and really tell us a full story. I like the wet hair details and those dripping crystals all around the dress. They said this was inspired by the Kim Kardashian Met Gala dress. Whereas we have seen in Drag Race and Drag Race All-Stars, queens try to recreate that Met Gala dress quite unsuccessfully. This used it for inspiration but didn't try to recreate it, which is why I think it was way more successful. Anyways, there's something about this look that is super glamorous but also filthy and disgusting and horrifying. This look is beautiful, fabulous, and hot. Finally, Frankie really came for blood in her vampire look. This costume gets vampire inspiration from older references when vampires were more creature-like and gargoyle-esque. It's also extremely campy, kind of like her first look was. There's a whimsicality to it. The prosthetic on the face totally transforms who this person is and really brings it into that monster creature area. It's almost as if like Snooki was a vampire and she got stuck between like the bat and human transformation. I'm loving all the twerking and dancing elements that Frankie incorporated into this lip sync performance as a vampire. The time period this vampire is from is apparent, and we get those clues from things like the car in the set with those headlights that are the only thing providing light to the dancing and performing. Now this is a mother-tucking monster. I think this look is hot. I wouldn't say these three looks are cohesive, but they do each tell their own very elaborate and fun story using references that a lot of people know and love. Next up, she's living her truth this time around in Dragula and has come out as trans post Dragula season 3 after that excellent run. Oh my god. She talks so much about the importance of being a trans performer in the drag community, and I just want to highlight that message and reiterate the importance of trans performers in drag. They really are the foundational block of this community of people that are all transforming themselves into men or women or sometimes creatures with no gender or human species reference at all. Her first look is Shrek's wet dream. She's doing this swamp witch fantasy with a taxidermied alligator head on top of her head. If you remember from her original season, she infamously had that calf in her performance. I don't think I've ever seen anything on TV that gave me quite that type of visceral reaction. It was revolting, horrific, but also intriguing, and again, part of what makes Dragula so interesting to watch. The types of performances that you see on this show are unlike any other. I love this look so much because I feel like it is a type of witch that we would see maybe in the True Blood kind of world. You can tell she really put a lot of care into building and constructing this look. The dress is made of this different types of textures and textiles patterned and interwoven together that give it this extremely backwoods influence. This is a look I can really sink my teeth into. Crikey. It's hot. As for their ghost look, oh my god. This look is glamorous, messy, gross, but also super impactful. It's the ghost of a sex worker. With this look, she brought attention to trans lives, specifically Black trans lives. This look and message are scary because they're so real. I love the details of the shopping bag, the giant fur coat, the cigarette earrings, the crazy messy hair. So thank you to Priscilla for bringing this message to a wider audience, and I hope this dead hooker finds her scare way into heaven. This look is hot. As for her last look, her vampire look, well, every rosary has its thorn. This one was probably my least favorite of Priscilla's 3 looks. Essentially, it's a nude illusion catsuit with some really dramatic bloody shoulders and then blood details on like the breasts and waist area. The details on it are very pretty, and the look overall definitely says vampire. She definitely approached this like, oh, y'all want some blood? Well, I'll give you something to suck on. I'm not really sure that this look delivered on the storytelling element or really gave enough of a performance in comparison to her other 2 looks and in comparison to some of what the other queens did. Her previous 2 looks very much told her story. This look, I don't think is going to make his story, but overall, I don't think it's bad. I'm going to say this is warming up to a hot. Next up, her cauldron is full of talent. It's Victoria Elizabeth Black. Her witch look, oh, basic witch is not wanted. This was jaw-dropping. From the set design to the actual performance to the look on her body. I was gagged. I was gooped. I didn't even know how to react. Everyone else was like, okay, I'm gonna do the assignment. But Victoria Elizabeth Black said, I'm going to do the assignment, the extra credit, and rewrite the textbook. Or should I say spell book? She's surrounded by candles, holding a live snake, has the classic grudgy witch hair. There's like this foam latex body piece on her chest with all these gory, gross details and paint colors. Her entire body is painted. It's disgusting. It's horrific. Pentagrams, prosthetics, live animals. What more could you want? This scene and character she created here could easily be seen in a Hollywood movie. I'm not joking. She really flew off the broom handle with this one. It's hot. As for her ghost look, handle with scare. So this look, the second part to her original performance story where she was eating the corpse and now this is the corpse come back to life, which is brilliant. I think Victoria Elizabeth Black tried to do a little bit too much because it's not actually a ghost performance or character, really. This was an excellent story to tell, but unfortunately it was not the right medium to display this performance on. It's going to be a rot because it doesn't match the category. However, the actual look is a hot. Immediately, this look unveils to these crazy giant prosthetic mouthpieces with these giant chompers. Then Victoria is walking through this dimly lit hallway coming off of a gurney, literally, like I said, like a zombie. If this was a zombie challenge, this would have been it. And finally, is my mascara running? Or am I just crying because her vampire look is so beautiful? Next level. This, like I was saying with that witch look, is the set out of a movie. Victoria's actual looks and performances are just the cherry on top of that delicious bowl of blood. This look is classic, beautiful vampire. She's coming out of the coffin. I think was the only one to use a coffin. And she was talking about how it's inspired by like 17 and 1800s era style. And you very much see that in the gorgeous gown that she's wearing. This vampire out of our set of contestants is the most powerful. This is the final boss vampire. There's a lot at stake in this performance and Victoria really rose to the occasion. This performance was hot. So as a whole, the three looks. Vampire definitely fulfilling that glamour fantasy, the witch fulfilling filth, and then her middle look, ghost, fulfilling horror. She had some of my favorite looks of the entire night. However, she didn't win the competition. There was this storyline of Victoria being almost too good for the competition. It felt almost a little awkward to watch because the Boulets are acknowledging that Victoria has this attitude that she is too good to compete in season 4 against a new batch of queens. And generally, I don't love when somebody is that cocky, but in this occasion, when you see these looks, you're like, oh, she's right. I think the other reason she didn't win this competition was because that second look, the ghost look, really didn't fulfill the category in any way. I don't know what's next for Victoria, but like I said, I think she has a future in Hollywood building sets for movies. Next up, she's 100% that witch. Seriously, bow down, witches. This is the most powerful witch of the coven. This is a supreme. Every single detail about this look, from head to toe, is immaculate. It's constructed of latex. She has a latex company, and she is proving both her costume design skill and ability to work with unconventional materials with this look. The witch hat is like 3 feet tall. It's got the classic buckle on it. She has what appears to be almost like Freddy Krueger knives on her hands. The corset piece of this cinches in her body and gives her a shape that is just stunning to look at. She turns around, she has this green prosthetic witch face on the back of her head. It was very like Professor Quirrell. This is high horror glam. It's just literally perfect. There's no cobblestone left unturned. When I think of who I want Bussy to be 5 years from now, this is the type of stuff I think of. Congratulations on this look, Loris. It's hot. This next look is an emotional roller coaster. Laura said this look was dedicated to anybody that's had any type of thoughts and is representing those thoughts by the demon on half of the body and then the pretty woman on the other half who is being driven to those thoughts by the demon. But did it say ghost? Nost. It didn't. Like Victoria's, it kind of seemed like they had something in mind that they wanted to do and then just kind of forgot that the category was ghost. On the other hand, I guess you could say that being half demon is a nod to that spiritual world because the demon half actually kind of looks like a Death Note demon. It maybe also has some Bleach anime inspirations. The other half is very gritty, classic, kind of like 50s housewife / diner inspiration. The actual construction of the outfit, perfect. She's a booty queen and nightmare in one. The look is hot. But because it just doesn't meet the category, I have to give this a rat. Finally, Mad Eye Moody makes a surprise appearance in Dragula Resurrection. I'm not really sure that this final look says vampire, besides the teeth. If she had applied that same attention to detail and level of effort that she put into the witch look and meeting that category to a T to every single one of them, I think she really would have showed the Boulets that she has changed from her original season and is willing to marry her conceptual ideas to the categories that she is given and required to perform for the actual competition. On pretty much everyone else's vampire look, we've seen classic elements of vampirism. The hazmat suit reveal didn't really make any sense. If you are a post-apocalyptic vampire, why do you need a hazmat suit? You're probably are adapted to living in the environment. And then the angle grinding, why? I know it's like a cool like performance element, and this was the performance category specifically where they were lip syncing. And then the actual look, I think the costume construction is just not done to the level that Loris did her previous 2 looks. Generally speaking, sucking is a good thing when you're a vampire, but not in this look tonight. This look is going to be a rat. Overall, across Loris's 3 looks, I love that she acknowledged her failure in her original season and applied what she learned to her very first look. Unfortunately, she didn't apply that same thinking to her second and third look, which ultimately was her downfall. Next up, Ra-tiki-tiki-ta-ta. Kendra Onixx's witch look reminded me so much of Bibi Zahara Benet. Kendra says her witch look's inspiration is deeply rooted in Africa, giving us a bit of a witch doctor doing necromancy, incorporating an impala skull that she has painted into this headpiece with lots of pretty feathers. As the Boulets said, neck up, it's cool, but then she kind of, I guess, really didn't think about the rest of the look. It was just a little bit pedestrian for Dragula. When you compare this to everyone else's witch look, it just didn't quite meet that high conceptual art level that some of the other contestants went to. So I've said my reasons, and I don't know how else to spell it out for you. This look is going to be a rock. For the ghost look, we get to hear about several literal ghosts in Kendra's life that are actually haunting her every single day. Number 1, Kendra's parents don't know that they do drag. The other ghost haunting Kendra. I think it was now several months ago, her fire act burned her face, yet somehow Kendra is sitting here completely 100% healed, looking as gorgeous as ever. So this look is in a graveyard, and I'm interpreting this look to be the literal ghost of Kendra if she had died that night with the fire accident. Finally, Kendra faces her fears and blows the fire, which makes this a really interesting and cool performance. The concept does get an absolute hot. It's literally hot. It's on fire. But it seems like Kendra's thought process when planning this look stops at the concept. The actual garment, we really can't even see due to the lighting. And then the hair, mama the hair, that it's literally just like a ratty nested wig placed on top of her head. I don't know. There's just so much more that I think Kendra could have done here to take this to the next level. And while I loved her fire breathing act, she couldn't quite kindle up a look hot enough for me to give it one. This is gonna be a rot as well. This next look, however, we can count a win. The garment she's wearing is this beautiful white dress, rhinestoned, with a beautiful cape. She incorporates blood, a better set design, and a really great performance. There's even a really interesting wig reveal moment where like slime or like a bunch of sticky glue is coming off of her scalp when she rips the hair off of her head. It's glamorous, filthy, and horrific. It was a really great finale piece for Kendra, and I was like, oh, there's that girl that we saw in that promo with that devil look. I was just happy she finally gave us something to bite into. This look is hot. Something about Kendra's bold, unapologetically black drag, as she puts it, is just empowering to watch. It's really cool to see somebody own exactly who they are and live in the skin that they're in and live their truth. Like I was saying with Priscilla, when somebody is truly happy with who they are, you can see it. And finally, Dragula on the wall. Who's the most beautiful witch of them all? It's Saint. Saint's approach to witchery is very different from everyone else's. She went so much more glamorous as a witch. Saint said this look is inspired by the African moonbather, a moth. The dress looks like a chrysalis and moth wings in one. It has all this beautiful pearl detailing, it looks like. And then she's covered in moths on her chest, on her head. There's even this necklace little thing that looks like moth eyes. This witch isn't totally good though. There's something a little bit evil, a little bit off. Saint's looks beautiful and intriguing and you want to get closer, but then when you get too close, I would imagine that she just totally turns into this giant moth monster and eats you in one bite. This look gave me a buzz, and I think it's hot. As for her ghost look, first we have to talk about the literal ghost haunting Saint in their day-to-day life that kind of gives some backstory and explain who this person is. They talk about family troubles with his stepfather tattooing them at like 11 and 12 years old, and then finally Saint addresses the Black Lives Matter movement and how it directly impacted her getting onto a stage and being scared to just exist and be who they are. And I know I've joked about having a cold dead heart, but this is something that truly moved me. If you want a good cry, go watch Saint's portion of Dragula Resurrection. So Saint comes out and holy shit, this is just so stupid simple, and you're like, oh, that's never gonna work. How can you possibly make the classic trick-or-treating Halloween ghost into an avant-garde couture high fashion gown of sorts that also possesses this demonic energy? Like her first look, it's deceptively beautiful. From a distance, you're like, oh, look at this really gorgeous like fabric with these pearl details on the headpiece. And then as you start to zoom in and get closer, you see these crazy demonic teeth and eyeballs. And she's explaining that this is like a demon that's dressing up as a kid that's dressing up as a ghost, and it's like, she wins. Trick or treat, Saint has both. And if you've got it, haunt it. This look is flaming hot. And finally, she puts the power into Flower with her vampire look. Totally unexpected. Saint's mind to interpret a vampire category as this like sort of 60s psychedelic high fashion woman living out her vampire fantasy. I love it. Saint has modified that classic psychedelic flower pattern in the background of this set to represent her and her art better. I love the little silver blood droplets hanging from the glasses, the gorgeously sculpted hair, and then the little gag in the middle of the performance where she drops the blood onto the little paper hyper as to imitate a popular psychedelic. And while of the performances, it wasn't the most dynamic, it was very intriguing still and told a story. I knew exactly who this character was and what she was doing. This vampire look took me on a fabulous fashion-forward trip with some beautiful references. It's hot. Having seen all these looks and hearing the backstories for each of these contestants, we can truly see that Dragula is the future of drag. There is no other show or medium showcasing performers in this light, letting them tell their story unapologetically, and is the only show to showcase unity, love, and acceptance in a way that truly embraces diversity. Deservedly, Saint receives the win for this competition, gaining her access to compete in season 4 and a $20,000 cash prize. Congratulations and well deserved. The Boulets also hint or suggest that we may see Victoria at some point in the future if they ever do All Stars, and they left us on a cliffhanger, as any good horror movie does. As for my hottest hot, well, I can't vote for just one, so I'm going to tell you mine for each category and my patrons who voted for these hottest hots over on patreon.com for each category. My hottest hot for Witch goes to Loris. My patrons chose Dahli. Myself and my patrons both chose Saint as our hottest hot for Ghost, and my hottest hot for Vampire goes to Victoria Elizabeth Black. My patrons chose Saint. My patrons make Bussy Queen possible. Join today to support my channel and get tons of exclusive content. And I want to give a special shout out to A Queer Chaplain, Abby, Adam, Blythe, Anonymity, Brandon, Catherine, Charlie, Chris, Crystal, Christopher, Curtis, Daniel, Derek, Ed, Elizabeth, Emma, Evelyn, Hannah, Ivan, Jake, Jaker, James, Janine, Jen, Joseph, Juan, Jude, K. Joheim, Kelly, Manny, Matt, Maxwell, Michelle, Michael B, Michael H, Miguel, Onion Fairy, Oscar B, Oscar D, Reverend Terry, Rick, Robin, Shado, Sinclair, Stephanie, Susan, Taco Sita, Tony, Vanessa, Veronica, Victoria, Zincat, and Midnight 19, who are all supporting me at my hot tier. Anjo, Bradley, Cameron, Caroline, Craig, Evan, Freddie, Glenn, Jenny, Kevin, Kiki and John, Sailor, Shannon, Sky, Sauceworld, Sunshine, Tina, and Timotheus, who were all supporting me at my hottest hot tier. And Aretha, Kevin, Marty, Mike, Matthew, and Tom, who were all supporting me at my Bussy Queen Collector tier. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Love ya. Bye.